All right, we're going to circle back to what we started talking about at the beginning of the show, about how the legislative session this session is kind of lacking in originality. As we mentioned, there have been 13 bills printed so far this session, 12 in the House, 1 in the Senate. 7 of those bills are either almost identical to what we've seen already in previous years, and they've either failed or been deemed illegal in courts, or there's just a slightly different version, maybe a different approach to how they're presented. That's 7 out of 13. That's quite a bit. Okay, so Aspen Shumpert, she's going to give us a glimpse into a few of these State House sequels.
If this legislative session is giving you a little bit of deja vu, you're right. In the first few weeks of Idaho's legislative session, the majority of the 13 bills introduced are just different versions of bills we've heard before. Like Senate Bill 1362, banning any flags in Idaho classrooms that is not the U.S. flag, state flags, or other approved government flags, with an exception for tribal flags and school flags. Today, an almost identical House Bill 10 was introduced to do the same thing.
There's a time to have a flag, and there's other times for other flags.
The bill's language has a few tweaks, expanding allowed school flags and banners, as well as explicitly spelling out no displays for any political viewpoint. Another repeat topic we've told you about is voter initiatives. In 2021, Senate Bill 1110, which passed and later revoked, required ballot initiatives to be signed by at least 6% of registered voters in all 35 Idaho legislative districts. But the Idaho Supreme Court ruled that law violates the state constitution, and the threshold was restored to require 6% in only 18 of the 35 districts, which is the law today. Lawmakers tried again in 2023 to amend the Constitution to try and change the requirement, but it died in the House. So this year, lawmakers dropped the idea of making it harder during signature collections, and instead, once it's on the ballot.
I'm trying to level the playing field a little bit. They're going to have to work a lot harder because we don't get to have full hearings on the issue in these.
Representative Bruce Skog wants voters to pass an initiative by 60% instead of a simple majority of 50+1. Which is the law now. But Representative Skog didn't stop there. He's taking another shot at adding a minimum fine for possessing less than 3 ounces of marijuana. Last year, they went for a $420 fine. This year, they'll go for a lower fine of $300, with an exception for juveniles.
In this version, with the help of the Idaho Prosecuting Attorneys Association, to make sure the wording is correct. So the minimum fine would not apply to juveniles. They could still be fined by a juvenile justice court.
There are others we are expecting to hear as well that are similar to former attempts. We know another one that is looming is the school choice tax credit that we expect to see here soon.
I was just thinking as we were watching that, there's a lot of representation there by Representative Skog.
There is. He's had a busy few weeks.
Yeah, and the school choice bill, again, that started out as a voucher idea where they're just going to give parents, and now it's turned into a tax credit. So that is kind of a redo, but just a slight twist to it, obviously. And again, we're not sure when that one's going to be proposed or introduced, I should say. Still waiting to hear about that. But they did talk about it as soon as day one of legislative session. It's something they're very much considering and really want to see happen this session.
Yep, and a hot topic on both sides as we addressed for the state of the state, hearing Democrats and Republicans what their opinions on that is.
Yeah, and we're only just a week in.
We are.
So, all right, we'll see what happens the next few weeks. Thanks, Aspen.